In a village where food is magic, one woman's secret spices ignite jealousy and a plot that could destroy her reputation forever. The morning sun painted Yemaja village in gold as the elders announced this year's harvest feast Kukamina, whose spiced jollof rice could make even the sorest elder smile. But beneath this celebration, trouble simmered. 3 women Tidik, Busy, and Nkechi watched from the shadows, their faces tight with envy. Always Amina, Tidik muttered, crushing a bitter leaf between her fingers. This year will give her a taste of humility. That afternoon, while Amina fetched river water for her preparations, the trio slipped into her kitchen hut. Busy held the door as Nkechi swapped Amina's prized nutmeg for crushed locust beans, while Tidik stirred a handful of ash into the palm oil. Let's see your magic work now, Tidik sneered, wiping her hands on her wrapper. At dusk, the village gathered under the baobab tree. Amina served her dish with pride. Unaware of the treachery, the first bite made Chief Olu cough violently. What poison is this? He roared. Amina's heart sank as villagers spat out her food. Tidik feigned concern, perhaps her famous spices were never real at all. Later, by moonlight, Amina examined her supplies. Her fingers traced the unfamiliar grit in her oil. Someone had sabotaged her, but who? Across the village, the conspirators giggled over halabashes of palm wine. She'll never recover from this, Nkechi crowed, yet unbeknownst to them, young Keme had seen everything. The girl clutched her mother's wrapper, wondering should she speak up and risk the women's wrath. By sunrise, the village buzzed with tales of Kamina's failed feast. Tidik and her allies moved through the market like bees, spreading venom. Did you hear? Bisi whispered to the yam seller. Kamina's been using witchcraft in her spices for years. Nkechi nodded solemnly at the water while my cousin saw her talking to river spirits at midnight. Kemi trailed behind her mother, clutching a basket of okra. When they passed Amina's empty stall, the girl blurted, "Mama, I saw," but her mother shushed her. "Don't meddle in grown folks' business," she warned. Kemi's secret burned like hot coals in her chest. Amina worked alone at her hearth, tears seasoning the pot. Her friend Yuan found her there. "They're saying terrible things," Yuan said gently. "We must clear your name." Amina stirred her pot with a heavy heart. "How? They've already judged me." Meanwhile, Tidik convinced the elders to bar Kamina from cooking at next moon's naming ceremony. For the children's safety, she insisted, hiding a smile. That night, Kemi crept to Kamina's hut. "I saw them ruin your spices," the girl confessed in a rush. Amina knelt, wiping Kemik's tears. "Child, truth is like palm oil, it always rises to the top." As Kemi left, Tidik emerged from the shadows, telling stories. "Little mouse?" she purred, making the girl tremble. But when Tidik reached to grab her, Chief Kola's voice boomed, "Let the child go." The chief had heard every word. The next morning, Chief Olu summoned the village under the ancient Iroko tree. "Let the fire test the truth," he declared, announcing a cooking challenge: Amina versus Titi, using identical ingredients. The crowd murmured excitedly. Never had their quiet village seen such drama. Tidik scoffed, "What fool would bet against me?" But as she gathered her utensils, her hands trembled. Amina simply bowed and began washing her pots, her movements precise as a heron's dance. At high noon, 2 fires burned in the square. Titus supporters cheered loudly, but their laughter faded when Kamina began grinding spices. The aroma alone made stomachs growl. "Tricks," Tidik shouted, but the chief silenced her with a look. Midway through, Kemi noticed something amiss with Kamina's firewood. "Auntie, look," she cried. Someone had soaked part of the logs in water. Amina quickly adjusted, but precious time was lost. Across the square, Tidik smirked as she added extra pepper to her pot, too much, though none dared tell her. When both dishes were served, the elders tasted Tidik's first. Their eyes watered from the heat. Then came Amina's plate. Elder Adani closed her eyes after the first bite. "Child," she whispered, "this tastes like my mother's cooking, God rest her soul." The crowd leaned forward, sensing victory, but then Tidik shrieked, "She cheated. I saw her use forbidden herbs." A gasp rippled through the villagers. Chief Kalu raised his hand. "We shall see." He nodded to 2 men, who began inspecting both cooking stations. The inspectors found the damp firewood first and Biz's woven bag nearby with riverweed still clinging to it. Nkechi tried to slip away but found her path blocked by Yuan's imposing frame. "Going somewhere?" Yuan asked sweetly. As the evidence mounted, Tidik turned on her allies. "This was Biz's idea." The market woman's mouth fell open. "Liar, you brought the ash." The square erupted into chaos until Chief Kula's staff struck the ground 3 times. Kemi stepped forward then, small but steady. "I saw them all," she said, describing that fateful afternoon in vivid detail. The villagers listened, some nodding. They'd seen how quickly the rumors had spread. Titus' defiance crumbled. "I just wanted," her voice broke. Everyone always praised her. The admission hung heavy in the air. Amina approached her rival, offering a calabash of water. "Envy is bitterer than the bitterest leaf," she said softly. Chief Kalu pronounced judgment. Tidik would work under Amina's supervision for 1 moon cycle. The crowd murmured. Some thought it too light, others too harsh. But Amina knelt before the chief. "Let her cook beside me at the naming ceremony instead." That night, as fireflies danced, Amina and Tadik prepared egusi soup together in silence. When Tadik accidentally cut a pepper wrong, Amina showed her the proper knife grip. A beginning fragile as a new koyam leaf. On the night of the naming ceremony, the village square glowed with oil lamps. Amina and Tadik stood side by side, their one revel pots now bubbling in harmony. When they served their joint dish, a new recipe blending both women's best techniques, the elders wept openly. This, Chief Kalu declared, is the taste of unity. Afterward, Tadik presented Amina with a carved wooden spoon, its handle etched with healing symbols. Forgive me, she whispered. Amina clasped her hands. We all swallowed bitterness, now let's feast on joy. Kemi became Kamina's apprentice, her young voice ringing clear as she hawked their new Unity spice blend at market. Even Busy and Kehe eventually apologized, bringing baskets of fresh ingredients as peace offerings. Years later, when travelers asked about the famous spice mix, villagers would smile and say it contains nutmeg for warmth, pepper for courage, locust beans for humility, and just a pinch of ash to remember how darkness can birth light. On her 100th birthday, Grandma Amina, her hands now gnarled but still steady, passed the wooden spoon to Kemi's granddaughter. Stir with love, she counseled, and always leave room at your fire for unexpected guests. Outside, the village children played beneath the same baobab tree, their laughter seasoning the evening air.